Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something absolutely wild from Santaga to Bolognese. And honestly, this is one of those cars that just redefines what we thought was possible in the SUV world. We're talking about the 2026 Lamborghini Urus SE. And let me tell you, this thing is an absolute monster. So buckle up, because we're about to explore why this plug-in hybrid super SUV might just be the coolest thing Lamborghini has ever put on four wheels. Now, before we get into all the crazy specs and the insane technology packed into this thing, let's just talk about what the Urus means to Lamborghini. When they first announced they were making an SUV back in 2017, people lost their minds. Like, why would Lamborghini, the kings of supercars, the guys who give us scissor doors and V12 engines that scream to the heavens, why would they make an SUV? But here's the thing. The Urus has become their best-selling model ever. We're talking over 29,000 units sold globally since 2018. It's actually outsold the Huracan, and that's saying something. This SUV isn't just a side project for Lamborghini. It's the cash cow that funds all those crazy supercars we drool over. So yeah, the Urus is kind of a big deal. Alright, let's get into what makes the 2026 model so special. The biggest news here is that Lamborghini has gone all in on electrification. Now I know what you're thinking, hybrid Lamborghini. Isn't that kind of, I don't know, against everything they stand for? But hear me out, because this is where it gets really interesting. The Urus SE, and that SE stands for Super SUV Electrified, is Lamborghini's first plug-in hybrid SUV. And this isn't some wimpy hybrid setup that's all about fuel economy and saving the planet. No, this is Lamborghini. So obviously they've taken the hybrid concept and turned it up to 11. Under that aggressive hood. You've still got the iconic twin-turbocharged 4-liter V8 that made the original Urus such a beast. But now it's been completely re-engineered to work with an electric motor. So you've got the V8 pumping out 612 horsepower on its own. And then there's this permanent magnet electric motor integrated right into the 8-speed automatic transmission, adding another 189 horsepower. When you combine these two hearts, as Lamborghini calls them, you get a total system output of 789 horsepower, and 701 pound-feet of torque. That is absolutely insane for an SUV. We're talking 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds and a top speed of 194 miles per hour. That's faster than most supercars from just a decade ago. And this is a vehicle that can haul your family and luggage. But here's what's really cool about this hybrid setup. It's not just about raw power, though obviously Lamborghini delivers on that front. The electric motor provides instant torque, which fills in any gaps in the V8's power delivery. So you get this seamless, relentless surge of acceleration that just doesn't let up. Plus, and this is kind of hilarious, you can actually drive this Lamborghini SUV in pure electric mode for about 37 miles. Can you imagine cruising through your neighborhood in complete silence in a Lamborghini? Like, people are going to do a double take when this thing glides past them without making a sound. And then you can stomp on it and wake up that V8, and suddenly everyone knows exactly what you're driving. That's the best of both worlds right there. The battery pack is pretty substantial too. It's a 25.9 kilowatt-hour unit that sits below the cargo floor. And you can drive in all-electric mode up to about 81 miles per hour before the V8 needs to kick in. Lamborghini says this setup reduces emissions by 80% compared to the previous models, which is actually pretty impressive when you think about it. So you're getting more power, better performance, and cleaner operation. It's basically a win-win-win situation. Now let's talk about the design, because this is a Lamborghini after all, and they don't do subtle. The Urus SE has gotten some serious updates that make it look even more aggressive and purposeful than before. Up front, you've got these new adaptive matrix LED headlights with 21 active segments, so they automatically adjust to give you the best possible lighting in any condition. There's a new clamshell hood that flows more smoothly, which actually reduces drag and looks way cleaner than the old design. The front bumper and grille have been completely redesigned with this massive central intake that honestly looks like it could swallow small cars whole. It's got this really aggressive, almost angry look that screams performance. Moving to the sides, you'll notice these revised air vents and ducts that aren't just for show. They actually improve cooling performance by 15%, which is crucial when you're dealing with this much power. The rear end is where things get really interesting. There's a completely new diffuser and this aero lip that work together to increase rear downforce by 35% at high speeds. That means more stability when you're pushing this thing to its limits. And the taillights have been totally redesigned with this new grille pattern that's inspired by classic Lamborghini supercars like The Gallardo. It's these little touches that remind you this isn't just any SUV. This is a Lamborghini through and through. The Urus SE sits on massive wheels, ranging from 21 to 23 inches, and they're wrapped in specially developed Pirelli P0 Elect tires. These aren't your regular performance tires. Pirelli designed them specifically for electrified vehicles, so they can handle the instant torque from that electric motor and the extra weight from the battery pack. And trust me, with 789 horsepower going through all four wheels, you need every bit of grip you can get. Step inside the Urus SE and you're immediately hit with what Lamborghini calls their feel like a pilot philosophy. Everything is angled toward the driver, and the whole cabin has this fighter jet vibe going on. There's a new 12.3-inch touchscreen that's bigger than before, and it runs an updated version of Lamborghini's infotainment system. The interface is actually pretty intuitive. It's inspired by smartphone app management. So you've got this endless carousel that you just swipe through to control all the vehicle's features. The graphics are sharp, the response is quick, and it's all part of this new design language that Lamborghini introduced with the Revuelto. Now, the interior isn't drastically different from the previous Urus, but there are some nice touches. You've got anodized aluminum trim details that give it that lightweight high-tech feel. There's new panel and dashboard coverings that just feel premium. And of course, you've got all the Lamborghini-specific touches that make this special, like that flip-up cover over the engine start button, which honestly never gets old. Every time you flip that thing up and press the button, you feel like you're launching a fighter jet or something. It's theatrical. It's silly. But it's also exactly what you want from a Lamborghini. The front seats are supportive with enough bolstering to keep you in place when you're throwing this thing around corners. But they're also comfortable enough for long drives. The rear seats are a bit tight, especially headroom thanks to that sloping roofline, but they're still usable for adults on shorter trips. And the cargo area is actually pretty practical. You can fit golf clubs, suitcases, whatever you need. This is a real SUV that you can actually use every day, not just a track toy that happens to have extra doors. One thing that's kind of amusing is the drive mode selector. Instead of a boring dial or button, you've got these fighter jet style switches. There's one called Anima on the left that cycles through different driving modes with Italian names like Strada for street, sport, and so on. Then there's another switch that controls how much you tap into the hybrid system. And in the middle, there's this big handle with a tiny little R at the top for reverse. It's confusing at first, like genuinely people spend a few minutes just trying to figure out how to put this thing in drive. But once you get it, it's part of the whole Urus experience. It's quirky, it's over the top, and it makes you smile every time. Performance-wise, the Urus SE is just bonkers. That 3.4-second sprint to 60 is only 0.1 seconds slower than the old gas-only Performant model. And that's with the added weight of the hybrid system. The all-wheel drive system has been completely revised with a centrally located torque vectoring setup that can more precisely split power between the front and rear axles. There's also a new electronic limited slip differential on the rear that helps with handling and gives you more control during oversteer. Basically, this thing can slide its tail out with precision if you want it to, but it's also incredibly stable and planted when you're just cruising. The air suspension is another highlight. It can lift the Urus up to 3 inches in off-road modes, which means this Lamborghini can actually handle some serious terrain if you're feeling adventurous. Not that most owners will ever take this thing off-road, but it's cool that the capability is there. You've also got adaptive dampers, 48-volt active anti-roll bars, and rear-wheel steering, which makes this massive SUV feel way more nimble than it has any right to be. The brake cooling has been improved by 30% too, so you can push hard lap after lap without worry. Now let's talk about how the Urus SE stacks up against its competitors, because at this price point, you've got some serious options. The most obvious comparison is the Porsche Cayenne Turbo e-Hybrid, which makes sense because they share a lot of the same underpinnings. The Porsche puts out 729 horsepower, so the Urus has a 60 horsepower advantage. Then there's the BMW XM label with 738 horsepower, but the Urus still beats it on power. The Ferrari Purosangue is another rival with 715 horsepower from a naturally aspirated V12. And while that's an incredible engine, it's not a plug-in hybrid, so you're comparing different animals there. The Aston Martin DBX 707 is another contender in the super SUV space. But here's the thing that makes the Urus special. It's currently the most powerful production SUV you can buy. That alone is a huge bragging right. And unlike some of its competitors, The Urus has this unmistakable Italian flair. This drama and theater that you just don't get from a German or even British SUV. When you drive an Urus, people know what you're driving. It makes a statement. Pricing for the Urus SE starts at around $262,000 before destination charges, which is actually right in the middle of what the old Urus S and Performante used to cost. So you're getting more power, hybrid technology, updated styling, and all this new tech for basically the same money. Of course, Lamborghini offers over 100 different paint colors and endless customization options, so you can easily push the price well past $300,000 if you go crazy with the options. But that's part of the fun of buying a Lamborghini, making it uniquely yours. Looking ahead, Lamborghini has confirmed that a second-generation Urus is already in the works and should debut sometime after 2026. They've said it'll continue using technology from the Volkswagen Group, which makes sense given how successful this platform has been. There are even spy shots of what looks like a more hardcore Urus SE Performante being tested at the Nürburgring with some aggressive bodywork updates. So Lamborghini isn't done pushing the Urus further, and way down the line in 2029, they're planning a fully electric Urus as well. But for now, this plug-in hybrid setup seems like the perfect sweet spot. So what's the verdict on the 2026 Lamborghini Urus SE? Look, this thing is absolutely ridiculous in the best possible way. It's got supercar performance wrapped in an SUV body. It can be a silent electric cruiser one second and a roaring, tire-shredding monster the next. The design is aggressive and unmistakably Lamborghini. The technology is cutting edge. And despite all that power and drama, it's actually practical enough to use every day. You can haul your family, your gear, whatever you need, and then go carve up a mountain road or hit the track when the mood strikes. Is it perfect? No, probably not. The interior, while nice, doesn't quite match the luxury you get in some of its competitors. The infotainment can be a bit convoluted with its Lamborghini-specific menu structure. And let's be honest, the fuel economy when you're not running on electric is still pretty terrible. But none of that really matters because if you're buying a Lamborghini Urus, you're not worried about gas mileage or whether the interior has heated armrests. You're buying it because it's outrageous, because it's fast, because it makes you smile every single time you drive it. The Urus has been a game changer for Lamborghini, and this new SE model takes everything that made the original great and turns it up a notch. It's proof that electrification doesn't have to mean boring, and that you can have incredible performance while also being a bit more environmentally conscious. Whether you're a die-hard Lamborghini fan, or just someone who appreciates incredibly capable vehicles, the Urus SE deserves your attention. All right, everyone, that's all I've got for you today on the 2026 Lamborghini Urus SE. What do you think about this hybrid super SUV? Would you take this over a traditional supercar? Or would you rather have something like the Revuelto? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more car content. Until next time, keep the rubber side down and I'll catch you in the next one.